First case is matter of Non-Human Rights Project v. Lavery. Mr. Weiss, I believe you're arguing.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. My name is Stephen Wise, and I first want to thank you for the privilege of appearing on behalf of Tommy, who is a chimpanzee who is being kept in a cage in a warehouse in a town called Johnstown, New York.
Counsel, you want us to grant, well, you wanted Judge Seiss, but now you want us.
Yes, Your Honor.
To grant him immediate release from illegal detention. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Tommy, in this circumstance, is indeed a person who is entitled.
You assert he's a person. We haven't decided that.
Yes, Your Honor. We do assert that is our position, that he is indeed a person, and he is entitled then to a common law writ of habeas corpus. Now, usually writs of habeas corpus involve adult human beings.
Correct.
But there are many cases that have involved children, for example, slave children in Massachusetts.
But there are no
New York.
writs of habeas corpus, at least in this state, that have involved non-humans. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. This is a novel case in that way.
But
however,
even you in your brief, when you talk about individual rights, you talk about the fact that along with those individual rights come responsibilities. And you don't want us to foist any responsibilities upon this chimpanzee. No. You just want us to determine that he has the opportunity to be free of this confinement.
The better way to view Tommy would be similar to a human child who has rights. You can't put a little child in a cage, but doesn't have correlative responsibilities.
Mr. Weiss, if I may?
Yes, Your Honor.
Corporations have been treated as legal persons in different contexts. Citizens United, for example, is one case. Can you give any example anywhere where in a habeas corpus context, the word person has been attributed to a non-human being?
A person is not synonymous with a human being. A person means it's someone that the civil law now says counts. They're no longer invisible to the civil law. So we cited other common law countries. An Indian court finds that the holy books of the Sikh religion are persons. And in 2012, there was a treaty between the indigenous peoples of New Zealand and the Crown that designated a river as a legal person. So a legal person is a legal concept. It is not a biological concept, which was the teaching of the Court of Appeals in Berne.
We know that from your brief. Did you ask the owners whether they would just agree to allow you to take custody of Tommy and place him in the preserve? And if preserve's the wrong word, I apologize.
Repeatedly. We even said that we would drop this case if the respondent agreed to move him to a sanctuary. And only when we learned he didn't do that and he was going to move him to some place that was just about as bad as where he is now, then we sought the preliminary injunction, which this court allowed.
And so can we safely assume that the goal of this proceeding is to promote the well-being of the chimpanzee?
No, there's only one goal for the proceeding, because it's a common law habeas corpus proceeding to discharge the chimpanzee if it's not unlawful.
Are you saying that you're not interested in promoting the chimpanzee's well-being?
That is not the purpose of our suit.
Well, then maybe the key here is a legislative lobbying activity to ensure that the statutes are changed.
That is one option. But the courts and the legislatures are co-equal branches here.
Yes, we're well aware of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. This reminds me, for example, of the arguments that were brought up in the famous Somerset versus Stewart case, which is part of New York common law, where a slave was made free, and Lord Mansfield understood that he had a judicial duty, as this court does, have a judicial duty to change the common law. Then they went to Parliament.
I have to tell you, I keep having a difficult time with your using slavery as an analogy to this situation. I just have to tell you that.
Let me suggest this, that by referring to human slavery, we are in no way comparing Tommy to any
I understand,
slaves.
but my suggestion is you move in a different direction for the next 2 minutes.
Okay. The abilities of self-determination and autonomy are supreme values within the common law. And these are also the same values that the writ of habeas corpus was constructed over the centuries to protect. And we asked this court to not necessarily find that Tommy is a person, but assuming, as Lord Mansfield did, without deciding that Tommy could be a person, remanding to the court with an order to show cause, and then proceed in accordance with Article 70.
Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honors.